Hey guys, Zen here. This video is going to be our week 1 best decks that I've seen currently with the new set in Pokemon Pocket, Wisdom of Sea and Sky. Or actually, is it Sky and Sea? I always mess it up. But anyway, let's get right into it with the first deck of today's video. And this one is a Crobat variant piloted by Hassalf, I believe. And they got 4th place with a 9-3 record. Now, the idea of this deck is Crobat hits so aggressively for only 1 energy. All you need is 1 darkness energy, it deals 70 damage, and then there's going to be a poison tick applied. If you can get your Nihilego on the bench, well then that's an extra 20 damage. So it turns that 70 into a potential 90 with the poison tick damage by the end of your turn. Now, if you have a Darkrai EX and a Nihilego, well then that damage goes up to, I believe, 110 by the end of your turn, 130 by the start of your next turn with the Darkrai ping damage. And then of course we have Sylveon EX here because time and time again, it's been proven to be such an amazing addition to decks that need more consistency. Nothing feels worse than just not drawing your cards. And Sylveon, I imagine we're going to continue to see in many decks because that's exactly what it does. It helps you find your cards so much faster. Now, the other cards that are really interesting in this deck are Silver for Disruption, Red card for Disruption, but also Dark Pendant, which honestly, like, what were they thinking when they were like, yo, dark Pokemon need an extra tool specifically to help with disruption? If you don't know, Dark Pendant, if it's attached to a darkness Pokemon and you attack that darkness Pokemon, that player randomly takes a card from their hand, sends it back into their deck. So if your opponent attacks you, they're losing card advantage. They could be losing something they need the following turn to win the game, like a Cyrus. Dark Pendant is super great in this deck. And then we also have the X speeds to pull things out because you really want to prioritize energy placement on this deck. That's kind of like the most important thing, is like, what turn are you placing what energy where? Could make or break this deck and how you win. And then a Lily to help out that Crobat stay alive. But there you guys have it. If you're a Crobat EX fan, this has been kind of the deck that everyone's kind of falling back into, but it's not the only deck. I've seen a few other very interesting Crobat variants, but this is the one that we're seeing a lot on the ladder as well as in tournament play in the first week. But what do you guys think about Crobat? With that, let's hop into our second deck list. And this is actually the archetype, the Don Faniac. I piloted a deck similar to this. I did not respect the power of baby Pokemon this early into the week, like my opponents here. Nuggets, actually, we played them in top 16. I made top cut with Don Faniac's deck, and then we lost to the mirror match, and they went all the way up to the finals, right? They were the top 2, but they, I believe, lost to, who did they lose to? My mistake. They made it up to top 4, not top 2, not the finalists. And they lost to Dark Tina, which we'll be talking very heavily about at the end of today's video, so stick around for that. But yeah, Donphan feels pretty good, especially with the Tyrogue. It's a baby Pokemon with no energy attacks, retreats for free, and has no weakness. The only downside is it has 30 HP, but you also have a cape in this deck. Now, the cool thing about Tyrogue is it's technically fighting Ramp, if you really think about it, because if you're going second and you have Tyrogue in the lead, well, you don't need to invest energy into your active Pokemon to attack, which means you're kind of ramping something else a turn sooner, which could be that Donphan or maybe even that Luca for the following turn. So it's not directly ramp, but it's almost kind of like ramp, if you guys get what I'm saying. At least that's how I've seen it played, and that's kind of how I've interacted with it. Like, it'll be my attacker while I ramp something else that's more important. With that being said, you could leave Tyrogue, you can boost damage of your Donphan from 50 with a one energy attack all the way up to 70 with a Luca, up to a 90 with 2 Lucas. And then also Donphan EX, if you have 3 energies, deals 110 just flat, 130 with 1 Luca, 150 with 2 Luca. So it's pretty solid, but that's not all, you guys. Let's talk about the Hiker card here. The reason I actually played Nuggets twice, before Top Cut and then in Top Cut. And I think the card that really helped them out is, one, I had no disruption, right? What am I doing playing in a tournament with no hand disruption in this economy? Wild. But also they were playing Hiker and I wasn't playing Hiker. And Hiker allowing you to just rearrange the top of your deck lets them say, okay, well, next turn I'm going to play this, third turn I'm going to play this, fourth turn I'm going to play this, and I'm going to win the game. So that's kind of what they did multiple times. So I think Hiker is really good in the Donphan EX archetype. But what do you guys think? Moving on to a Ho-Oh Lugia EX deck list that is actually so good. I played a variation of a top 4 player in my tournament that I hosted this week, S-King's version of the deck, which we actually made a video on the channel, so you might want to check that out, and with actual live gameplay. But this one, the variation we're going to talk about today, has Zera Aura and was piloted by PGX in the New Age tournament, and they got 6th place out of close to 300 players, 7-2 record. And the idea of this, you guys, is Elemental Switch is crazy. The card I'm talking about is this card right here. Such an amazing item card for your fire, water, or lightning type Pokemon decks, or any of those Pokemon that require those energies. The idea is you can say you lead Magby or a Pichu, right? And you have a Ho-Oh on your bench, and you have a Zera on your bench, and you have a Lugia on your bench. Let's just say an optimal, perfect opener. Turn 1, you can play your Pichu, Crackling Toss into your Ho-Oh. Turn 2, you retreat for free into your Ho-Oh. That Zera generated an energy zone onto your Ho-Oh. You elemental switch that Zera Aura's energy onto Ho-Oh, and now you could ramp Lugia turn 2, turn 3, your Lugia comes in and hits for 180. Or you can ramp again, and now Lugia can just 2-shot anything in the game. Insane. That is an optimal opener. Oftentimes you don't get that opener, right? But even if you don't get that opener, having Pichu, Magby being able to ramp your Ho-Oh really fast is phenomenal. Now, the question on everyone's mind, what energy do they run? I don't know. It doesn't tell you. All I can tell you is I know what S-King's version ran, and they ran a lightning and water energy because mainly they were also running Oricorio over Zera Aura, which I'm a huge fan of. It just adds a little level more consistency and control, especially if you're going into EXs. This, I would imagine, also runs water and lightning. You don't need fire for this deck. However, I could also see it being solo water energy, but it doesn't make sense with things like no Irida in this deck. So the energy, up to your interpretation, because there's no way we can find out. At least there's no information for me. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, or maybe PGX, Maldito, if you're watching, let us know what energy you're running for this deck. Moving on to the deck list that shocked literally everybody this week. First place in a 300 plus tournament, piloted by Siler33. They got first place in the Frog EX Weekly, which is crazy. Espeon, we all knew like Espeon was like kind of okay and good. Personally, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm a content creator. You're never gonna catch me lying to you guys if I can help it. I said Espeon EX was garbage. When I first saw it, I was like, yo, that 30 reminds me so much of Cresselia. And I'll be the first one to admit I was horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. Cresselia EX still sucks. But Espeon EX is actually kind of cracked. That plus 30 recovery every turn really does help out a lot, especially with things like your EV bag. But on top of that, the thing that is really surprising is this Sylveon from last set. The non-EX is actually the thing that makes this deck so well, so strong. Because if you have 3 evolutions on your bench, your Sylveon can do up to 130 damage, which is kind of nuts. 140 with the single EV bag. And that's a 1 prize point Pokemon if you lose it the following turn. We're also running 2 copies of Silver here, which have been such a phenomenal addition to this game. I've seen many decks play Silver Red Card, Silver Mars, but honestly, if you're only going to pick one of those 3, I think Silver is by far the best, because the other 2, it's like random. You don't really know what's coming back into their hand. This gives you hand information. You see what's in their hand. And then also, if they have a supporter that you're really like scared of, send it back to their deck. And now they have to like 1 out of 8 chance to pull it again on their next turn, or however many cards they have left in their deck. But man, is it great to see Espeon EX do really well this week. So again, shout out to Siler33 for piloting this into a first place winner. All right, moving on to, okay, we're going into no more of the newer decks, but these are still decks that are, if you're an Ultra, you're going to see a lot of these. Oh my God, it's so frustrating. And the only new addition that they're adding is Silver. You're seeing the Greninja Sylveon slop with Giratina in the back, but now they have Silver, which is so annoying because they can Silver you, see your hand, and if you have more than 2 cards in there that they don't like, they can just red card you the following turn. It's actually super frustrating, which is the only addition to this deck. Now let's move on quickly to the next one, which is Oricorio, Zeraora, and Silvally. Now let's move on to the next one, which actually also got a first place in 2 days ago in the New Age tournament by Pay. Very interesting deck list here. You have Silvally, Oricorio, Zeraora. It's pretty much the exact same. You would expect maybe some things like the Elemental Switch, but you're not really getting any new cards here. So instead, what I want to do, by first of all saying congratulations for getting first place with this, you just showed everybody you don't need any of the new cards to still pop off, which also we'll talk about when we get to Dark Tita, right? But also, I want to talk about the other variations that are very similar. They're running Pichus in this. They are running Elemental Switches. And it just adds an extra level of like, yo, we can get our attacks off by turn 2, which I find very interesting. In fact, I believe the second place winner, Lambo, in my tournament, the Econ Cup, my first ever tournament, was playing the Silvally Oricorio, but with Pichu, and they got second place. So with 130 people, 130 plus people tournament. So shout out to them, and also shout out to Pay for getting first place with this deck list. Phenomenal stuff. Next up is a second place winning Buzzwell in the New Age tournament. So this one actually lost to the Silvally, right? And this one is piloted by Gleon. And the thing I really want to discuss about this is if you're in Masters right now, this is at probably 70 to 80% of Master rank. Is they're only playing Buzzwell EX, Celesteela, Pheromosa. At least they were yesterday and the day before, and a little bit this morning before I recorded this video. So what I mean by that is if I'm playing like 5 games in Master, 4 of them are Buzzwell. It could be matchmaking roulette, but it is what it is. But let's also talk about the cards and why this deck is so good still. You can pivot out for free. Your Pheromosa can tag things in the back. And the newest addition to Buzzwell that I've found is they've increased their Cyrus to 2. I believe they used to run only 1 Cyrus. Now it's 2 Cyrus. And on top of that, we have Silver here. Those 2 changes in this deck make this a very, very, very strong deck because you get your Buzzwell online, your Pheromosa tags one of their EXs in the back, and you just Cyrus and you just end up winning games very quickly. So it's super consistent. The Lucamines here, the Guzmas here. Honestly, this might be the only deck list we saw Guzma. I predicted we'd see more Guzmas, and now we're just seeing a little bit here and there in certain deck archetypes. And then finally, let's talk about Dark Tina. And the Dark Tina we're going to talk about is the first place winning Dark Tina in the Econ Cup, my tournament again. And this one is Ruben GP39. And you look at this, there's only one new card being Silver. And the thing I want to talk about this is the game needs to give us something because Dark Tina is consistently going to be strong, especially whenever a new set comes out, because these guys don't need new cards. The new cards, they're still trying to figure out what they can do, how fast they can do it, how quickly. Dark Tina, they're just like, give me the good old stuff that we need, maybe one new tech card, new supporter being like Silver, and we're good to go. We have Sustain with our Potion Nurse Joy. We have our extra damage cards with Rocky Helmets and Red. We have our Disruptions with Mars, Red card and Silver. We have our Pivots with Leaf, and we have our Disruptions with Cyrus and Sabrina. So like Dark Tina, they're going to be here for the entire Series A, at least. And the game has shown us that there will be a Series B, a Series C potentially. And we don't know if there's going to do rotations, but if they do, it'll be the end of Dark Tina, we hope, maybe, possibly. But with that being said, if you're interested in participating in one of my tournaments, we're doing it every week, hopefully every Friday. And the first week of every new set is going to be like no rules. Anyone, you could play anything. And then the week afterwards, we're going to start changing things up. So like this upcoming week, Giratina EX is a banned card, and we're going to ban 2 more cards. So if you're interested, check out the description down below. I'm sure I'll have the link. You could join the tournament. It's going to be the Econ Cup 2, but there you guys have it. Those are the top 8 decks that I think are very strong in the first week of the new set for Pokemon Pocket. With that being said, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. We'll catch you guys later.